You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Step in the pit with snakes. City of dreams, city of...
I got the privilege to get a review key for Cyberpunk 2077. Literally, as soon as I got the email, I was just sitting there praising God because I was just so excited about this. But thank you, God. First and foremost, thank you, CD PROJEKT RED. I appreciate this privilege. Today, I want to talk about my first impressions for Cyberpunk 2077 Update 2.0. So now I've made myself a little list here so that I stay on key, but I'm going to completely do this off the dome because it's fresh in my brain. I have 1,600 hours in Cyberpunk 2077. From December 19th of 2020 till this day, I have played it on the Xbox consoles, PlayStation consoles 4 and 5, and PC. So I have effectively played the living shiz tit out of this game. Now, I have not found everything in this game, but you might as well call me the ex-Latalis of Cyberpunk because that's pretty much the point that I'm at. And that's probably how I'm going to be on YouTube with this content, especially for the future sequels that come out. But I have a lot of experience with this game, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is the definitive Cyberpunk 2077 experience. Update 2.0 is what the developers would have wanted Cyberpunk to launch like, and if it had launched like this update, like what the game is with this update, I can guarantee you it would have been a Game of the Year nominee. I don't know if it would have won, but at the very least, it would have been Game of the Year nominee. It's amazing. I'm not going to say it's flawless because this update is not flawless, but this is the definitive Cyberpunk 2077 experience. So, real quick, I do want to say that I did play this on a PC. I have a gaming laptop with a GeForce RTX 3060, and I have a Ryzen 5500X, just for context so you're aware of what I played this on. But from what I've heard from those who have played on consoles, it runs extremely well. So don't be concerned about that if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series. Bugs. That's probably the first thing you're thinking about because most people think about bugs when it comes to Cyberpunk. So as far as did I have any bugs in my playthrough with Update 2.0? Yes. But I will emphasize that these are silly ones. Okay, so for context, the only bugs that I've had is when I fight the police, when I was testing out the new police overhaul system. I would run into a couple situations where if we started bumper carring each other, there would be this loud, ear-piercing sound effect that would happen while we were bunched up against one another in our vehicles. Now, once I drove away, it stopped, but when we would bumper car each other, it would play this loud, ear-piercing sound, and it wasn't like destroy your eardrums loud, but it was not really pleasant. I haven't heard of anybody else having this issue from the reviews that I've watched, but it's something I experienced. I also experienced the occasional, like, someone getting like graboided to the ground. What I mean by that is like half the person's body would be in the ground when I'm fighting the cops again, testing out the police overhaul. I would have a bunch of cops that out of nowhere, for some reason, they would just into the ground and like their torso up would be above ground and their legs would be just dangling in the cement through them to the ground. I don't know. It's weird. It would happen not every time, but every other time I would fight the cops, like testing that out. It sounds so weird to say that. But every other time I would do that, it would happen. And, you know, they would still shoot me. So they weren't, you know, not shooting, but they weren't not deadly any further. They just were deadly at half mast. So it was funny, but it wasn't anything crazy. And then occasionally I'd have like NPCs pop in somewhere. Like not pop in as like boop, but like it would be in the middle of a cutscene or something. And an NPC would just kind of appear kind of weirdly in the scene. Other than that, that's pretty much it. And I'm being very serious. This is coming from someone who, when I first started playing, I was having an average of 12 crashes. And I had silly bugs, like the Valentino guy who just emerged out of a van and he said, "Hola," and then blew up. You remember that crazy video? Yeah, I would have some stuff like that back in the day and 12 crashes. Now it was just occasional silly pop in, like I said, and then the cop thing. That was pretty much it. Other than that, buttery smooth. And I do mean buttery smooth. Now, onto the combat, vehicle combat. A lot of the big changes for Update 2.0 was vehicle combat and just overhaul to the driving also. And then we also had perk system. So, starting with the cops. The new police system is fantastic. And it made the cops of Night City scary for once. Unlike the joke that was made in Edge Runners, we're like, well, they're just coming out of nowhere.
It's like these pigs keep appearing out of thin Air Force. No end
That no longer happens anymore. Gone are the days of cops just appearing out of thin air as if they are some ethereal being that just, at the moment's notice when something goes awry in Night City, they just spawn into existence. That happens no more. They literally, you will see them coming a mile down the road or 2 miles down the road, and you'll hear the siren around the city coming towards you. And also dispatch will kick in. You'll hear a police officer say, we got an issue on such and such road. We need backup right now. And they will go absolutely crazy on your ass. And when I mean crazy on your ass, they are on your ass so fast. Like, I accidentally, hear me out, peep game. I accidentally drifted into a cop's front bumper. And I do mean accidentally because I was trying to hit a turn and I went too fast. All right. And quite literally bumped front of his bumper. That dude proceeded to mollywop my whole existence. He started hitting me like a bumper car, but he was trying to kill me. Like, I took off, just continuing my business. This dude said, oh, hell no. Bring that ass back here. Homie just came and blindsided my bike and threw me into the air and knocked me off my bike, to which I went flying into a cement wall and then had to start fighting the cops. And then MaxTac showed up and ended my whole existence in about 10 seconds. So the cops are nothing to play with. Also, every single street corner in Night City now has police. I mean, every corner has police. There is not a single spot you can go now in Night City where there isn't cops, except the Badlands. If you go to the Badlands and you made the cops mad, Militech will then take over because Militech has jurisdiction over the Badlands. So let's say you piss off some cops in the city center, and somehow you manage to have those cops chase you from the city center to the Badlands. At that exact moment, the cops will back off, and all of a sudden, you're going to see armored trucks of Militech come bum rushing you from every orifice of that desert. They will just be on your ass. So it's like little details like that that's just super cool, and they will wreck you. Absolutely. MaxTac will absolutely wreck you. If you thought you were crazy before, that you could just destroy MaxTac like it was nothing, they're going to wreck you. They're going to test every bit of your combat skills. So if you've got any extraneous length of time in this game, be ready. Vehicles. So back to vehicles. This is the best the driving has been. I was initially concerned the driving was going to still be kind of sucky. We all know the driving is one of the worst aspects of the main game. And I talked vaguely about, or not vaguely, like minorly about that in my 20 things longtime players hate. Definitely go check that video out. Worked really hard on that one, and it's doing very well. We reached 6.9 thousand views today. Love it. Anyway, it's the best that it's been. Absolutely. Every vehicle feels great. Now, here's something I want to talk about. Other than the major changes that you're aware of, there is a lot of secret changes that CD Projekt did with this update that they're not telling you about. One of those big ones being they changed vehicle sounds. Not all of them, but for instance, the Caliburn has a whole new sound. And the sound effect of the vehicles is so distinct. I can hear the gear shifts. I can feel the effects of when the clutch kicks in. I can feel the pitter-patter of the muffler in the back when it's sputtering. Literally, when you're going super fast, you feel it. I mean, it feels crazy. And like I said, vehicle sounds have changed. Even Johnny's Porsche has a whole new sound, and it's way better. Now, there's a couple of vehicles that didn't change, but for the most part, all new vehicle sounds, and they sound amazing. And then vehicle combat in terms of what you can do. There are some vehicles that have the ability to spawn like turrets in the front. And there's other vehicles where they have no weapons, but you can pull out your own handgun or submachine gun or even a sword. Like literally you can be on a motorcycle and you'll have your sword out. And literally if you go out into third person, you're kind of holding your sword like this to the side. It looks so sick, bro. Like you hit a drift and just shing, and then you jump off your motorcycle, dash backwards in the air, hit a Koreznikov, and then pop one from below with an aerial takedown. Bro, it's so sick. It's so sick, bro. A lot of good changes have been made, but it's the minor things that I don't talk about. Other than those sound effects that I talked about, there's whole new gun models. For instance, iconic weapons. Iconic weapons have been completely overhauled. Like, completely overhauled. Great example I want to tell you. The pistol Dying Knight. Most of you know about the Dying Knight pistol. It's the first iconic pistol you get in the game from the Second Amendment store in your mega building. It has a completely new weapon model. Like, and it's a totally different looking weapon. It is not the same thing that you know it to be. It also has new perks. Same thing goes for Fenrir. If you remember, Fenrir is that SMG you get during the monk quest that's near the pier and the Maelstrom area in Watson. It got a complete overhaul too. It now, instead of shooting fire bullets, shoots electricity bullets, and it's got another perk as well, but I'll let you find that out for yourself. And it's like that for every iconic weapon. Another example I want to talk about is Sasquatch's hammer. Now, if you don't remember who Sasquatch is, she's the really big, muscled mommy chick that you fight outside of the theater in the GIM during the Voodoo Boy quest. She's most memorable from the deep dive demo. If you remember the deep dive days of 2019. Yeah, that stuff feels like a long time ago. Anyway, she got a complete overhaul too. Not only does her boss battle feel better, like it does feel much better, but if you are overpowered with your perks, you can just mollywop her whole existence. But the most important change, and I have to talk about this because it bugged the shiz tit out of me for the longest time. Her hammer. Sasquatch has this hammer, and when you pick it up in game, it is called Sasquatch's hammer. In the original version of Cyberpunk pre 2.0, it was this basic weapon. It was not an iconic weapon. Even though it had an iconic name, it was a basic level 1 weapon. It was like the worst thing you could use. It was no different than any other hammer. It was just a hammer and it had a different name. Now, it is an iconic weapon and it is extremely powerful, but it has some debuffs to it. So it has quadruple the damage. However, it slows you down. So for instance, you can't walk very fast. You can walk at a certain speed and you can't run or dash. You can hit like a brick house. It is stupid powerful. So not only that, but other iconic weapons as well have had changes in the melee weapon, like the Witcher sword got an upgrade. And there's a new Witcher sword too you get through your GOG account. And all I'm going to say is you should get it, especially for bosses. Get it. Try it out. Trust me. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk about other vanilla changes to the game. So on top of the sound effects being improved, on top of the vehicles being improved, and new sound effects for those, on top of the iconic weapons being improved, new perks being added. The perk system is phenomenal, by the way. I could just oogle and ogle over the perk system, but I'm going to save that in-depth discussion for the full, massive review that I'm going to do of both 2.0 and Phantom Liberty on the 25th of September. I will be reviewing it in full, in-depth, all of its glory, on that day for you guys to enjoy, so be prepared for that. This is, again, just my initial impressions that I wanted to get off the top of my head. It's great. It's the best version of the perk system. It is leagues ahead of what the perk system used to be. You can quite literally be whatever you want. You can straight up be whatever you want to be with this new perk system. You're going to have a blast. If you want to be the Hulk, you can be the Hulk. If you want to be a ninja, you can be a ninja. If you want to just straight up stealth net run every single person without touching a soul, you can do that. And if you want to go in like a crazed speed addict with a sword in your hand and just dash through everybody like they're butter, you can do that too. It's great, man. I don't know how else to say. It's great. It's great. That's all I can tell you. I want to talk more about vanilla aspects. So, like I said, perks is great. But some of the even bigger changes that I know most people have not spoken about through the reviews that I watched. Character models, dialogue, and quests of the vanilla game have been vastly improved. Also the lighting. And I'm not just talking about the new overdrive mode where it's got even more increased fidelity and graphical excellence because it's beautiful. But I tend to play on ultra to high settings with my setup. It just works best that way. And I rarely use ray tracing because I want to hold off until I get a desktop with a 4090 to just go hard. You feel me? Also, I like to run with high like FPS and to be able to still have good graphics, but run at high FPS. It's night and day better. Update 2.0 makes the game look night and day better. So on consoles, on PS5 and Xbox Series, this is going to look phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. You guys are in for a treat. But the dialogue between characters is improved. Like the audio sounds crispier. It sounds more smooth. Like just it sounds so good. The character models look way better, especially in Hollow Calls. In Hollow Calls, I noticed it the most. Like it was aggressively apparent how hard they worked on fine-tuning the models and making them look so good. quest lines. There's certain quests in the early game, like the Voodoo Boys quest, for instance. This is the quest line you have to do before you can start Phantom Liberty. I'm just going to say this. For the first time out of the 1,600 hours I've played, the Black Wall is actually scary now. And what I mean by that is, whenever I would go to the Black Wall section of the Voodoo Boy quest line with Brigitte and all the other Voodoo Boys trying to contact Alt Cunningham, I was never really intimidated. Like, the Black Wall in the lore is described as something that you should be terrified of because there's some really crazy things being blocked by that wall. And if they ever get loose, it's going to be hell to pay. Now, I was playing that mission today so that I could start the Phantom Liberty quest line. It actually creeped me out. Like, it sounds like a living, breathing beast, an organism all of its own, and it makes these creepy creaks and cracklings and grinding and roaring and screaming sounds. And if you just sit there, like I just sat there for a moment and stopped and listened, and I was stunned by how much creepier the Black Wall sounds. Like, it genuinely is a place I would not want to hang around any longer than I need to be there. Matter of fact, if I don't need to be there, I would rather not. That place was genuinely creepy. And I love that. I love that that is creepy now. So new players coming in, when you experience the Black Wall for the first time, this is going to blow your mind. Some of y'all probably will be like, nope, all right, I'm putting it down for the night. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, it's stuff like that. And in other quests too, in Ghost Town, there were some updates to that. I won't go into it. You could find it for yourself. Phenomenal. They literally have upgraded this game top to bottom. Vanilla Cyberpunk is the best that it's ever been. And again, I will say, if it launched like this in 2020, Game of the Year nominee, easily. Easily, without a doubt. I believe that's pretty much all that I could think of at the top of my dome. There, like I said, there's so many secret changes, you guys. And when I say secret changes, I'll say this one last thing, because I'm going to do a video on this tomorrow when it goes live. Do you guys remember those really cool intro animations or first animations for weapons, like Johnny Silverhand, when you get his gun, he does the pullback and then does the flip with it? Those initial animations you see with weapons that are so cool, but you only get to see them one time. That changes with Update 2.0. You can now do that as many times as you want. Quite literally, it is a function in the game. You can see that first equip animation as many times as you want to. And it is so awesome. It is like such a nice quality of life thing. And it's just, I love it. I love it so much. I sat there just twiddling my revolver, just flipping it over and over, because I had to have a mod to do that before. Like this, the animators made these really cool weapon animations. When you first get them, they look so sick, but that's it. Now you can do it as much as you want. It's so freaking cool. Like, it is so cool to be able to do that little thing. I love it. Last thing I want to talk about also is music. The new radio station's phenomenal. But one of the best things ever, one of the best quality of life features, if you sit in your car and you have the third person camera on, literally you will hear the music muffled. Like, it is such a great addition. I could not stop oogling and ogling over that. Like, I'm being so serious. I was so happy with that little thing. And it's weird. It sounds like something simple, but like the amount of times I've been listening to my radio and I expected that when I zoomed out and saw my whole vehicle that it would sound muffled because I'm listening to it on the inside of my car and I'm not moving. And it wouldn't do that in the original version of Cyberpunk pre 2.0. To have it do that now is so nice, man. It's little things. It's little bitty things you start noticing. So many little secret quality of life changes. So many little secret things like the ability to do the first equip animation as much as you want to, which again, I'll have a video on that tomorrow. It's so good, man. It's so good. It is so good, and I love it so much. So to all of the CD PROJEKT RED developers who've been working tirelessly on Phantom Liberty, thank you from the bottom, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to all the CD PROJEKT RED developers who've been working their asses off to make this happen. I know you guys have been working hard. You've been radio silent because you've been cooking it up in the kitchen, making this incredible, beautiful gift to the Cyberpunk community and to all the new players. And I can't wait to see the future. Like, I know this is the last major update for Cyberpunk, and it's actually really sad in a way because the Red engine's been one of my favorite game engines. Like, the artistic style of this engine, and just, you know, I've played all the Witcher games except for the first one. I actually take that back. I haven't played the first one, which I will be doing that before the remake comes out. And I've played Cyberpunk. Witcher 3 was my first game with CDPR, and since then I fell in love with the way that they make games. And this expansion, this update, and I'm gonna call it an expansion because people calling it a DLC have been low-key having me heated. I'm like, it's an expansion. It's an expansion, man. This is not a DLC. It is expanding the game. It is worth every penny of that $30. So if you're gonna get Phantom Liberty or you've been on the edge, it's worth your time. Take it from someone who's got years of investment in this game. Some people would be questioning my reasoning, but I love this community. I love the developers. I'm friends with some of the developers and the community managers at CD Projekt. They're good people. They made a mistake and they've fixed it. They've repented for it. They've done better. They've shown themselves like, hey, we want you to believe in us again. And I believe they've earned it. They've earned it. And I'm not a Red yet. I do plan to work there in the future. That is my goal. So one day you will see me working for CD Projekt Red. So I want to treat these people right and give them some love that they definitely deserve. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. Ending thoughts, it's worth your time. Update 2.0 and Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty is the definitive experience for 2077. With all that said, though, hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful, and fantabulous rest of your day. And until next time, remember, Jesus loves you. I love and always appreciate you. Stay being bodacious. I'll catch you next time. Peace.
You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Step in the pit with the snakes. City of dreams, city of gang. You don't believe in no fate. I might just dig up your grave. Step in the pit with a cane. City of dreams, city of gang, 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 gang. City of dreams, live in your grave. You live in your grave. City of dreams, city of gang.